This week, the PBA Tour moves to Sundays and finds its home here today in suburban Cincinnati for the PBA Tour's Greater Cincinnati Classic. It all begins with a wild card match, pitting five-time PBA champion from Bel Air, Maryland, Tim Criss, up against a four-time PBA winner, Doug Kent, who hails from Newark, New York. That winner advances to the semifinals against Hall of Famer Walter Ray Williams Jr., making his fourth straight final appearance. Could this be the right time for career win number 34? The other semifinal match, Rick Steelsmith, another Wichita State grad, looks for his first title since 1997. But to achieve it, he'll have to beat a rookie, Michael Machuga, making his first TV appearance in a final. That's the field for today's $200,000 PBA Greater Cincinnati Classic, next on ESPN. Just 15 miles south of downtown Cincinnati, home of the Reds and the Bengals. And speaking of those Bengals, they had a tough time this afternoon against the Jaguars. We're at the Super Bowl. That's the Super Bowl in Erlanger, Kentucky, where the PBA Tour is rolled for this $200,000 Greater Cincinnati Classic. Hi again, everybody, and welcome. They're very enthusiastic here, and well, they should be. We got a fabulous field of five, but there's one name you might not know. They know him, of course. He's the 25-year-old out of Erie, Pennsylvania, Mike Machuga. A couple of his sisters, Carrie, Shelley, All-America bowlers, University of Nebraska, and the softball pitcher, an All-America in her own right from Allegheny College. Now, ironically, the bowling sisters, Carrie and Shelley, well, they're nervous for their brother Mike, but the softball pitcher is not. How come, Laura?
Well, not being a bowler helps, but I'm his mental coach, and I feel he's well prepared. He's going to go one frame at a time, and he's learned his lesson this week, so it's been a success.
When you say he's the mental coach, what advice did you give him?
Well, I told him, he's learned his lesson. He's already done what he needs to do this week, and he's going to take it one frame at a time. We'll
find out in a little while. I'm going to sit here and watch with all of you. Now, speaking of a guy who knows how to deal with pressure, he's in the PBA Hall of Fame. He's with my tag team partner, Randy Peterson, there. And Randy, how many shows has Walter Ray now made?
Thanks, Jim. I'm down on the floor with Walter Ray Williams Jr., making the telecast 4 consecutive weeks in a row. Nothing new for this gentleman. He's 33 first-place finishes, only one win away from tying the great Mark Roth, second all-time, 32 seconds. This is a nice resume, something I would like to have. Walter Ray, it's been an incredible run the last 4 weeks. What are the keys to your success?
Oh, I think my opponents have just been laying down for me. I think that's it.
Really? Okay. And what's the real reason?
I don't know. I've been able to get a good line to the pocket in the practice sessions for the matches, and then I've thrown some really good shots and had some great matches. Fortunately, I've been coming out on top most of the time.
Walter Ray, in my opinion, the Zen master of the Maplewood. Walter, you said yourself you thought it would be very difficult in our new format, given the fact that it's kind of a match play-oriented format, that it would be very difficult to make back-to-back telecasts, but you've made back-to-back-to-back-to-back shows. There's got to be a secret.
Well, I don't know what the secret is, but I hope I remain with it and don't give it out to anybody. I know some of the other players have been bowling great. Parker Bowen's been bowling awesome, but he's only made 2 finals, and fortunately for me, I've making up where he hasn't.
Well, Jim, tonight with 2 victories, first place and $40,000 for Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Let's take a look at our field of 5. We started with 124 earlier in the week, the brackets, and our friends from Alka-Seltzer. The wild card match, that coming up first, that'll be Doug Kent up against Tim Criss. Walter Ray gets the winner there, and Mike Machuga, his first TV appearance. You think he's not got some sweaty palms? We'll find out a little bit later. Goes up against Rick Steelsmith. But here we are, set to go on lane 45. Doug Kent opens with 7.
Leaves at 3-6-10. The idea here is to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin, cover all 3 pins with the ball. Or you can drive the 6 into the 10. Ball takes out the 3. Our first look at Doug. Doug's chose initially a much straighter line than most of the guys on the show tonight. Cross lane 3-6-10.
In search, Doug is, of his 5th PBA title.
You get a good look right now at the differences between the two lines. Tim Criss here, 35 years old from Bel Air, Maryland. You're going to see he's going to be playing the extreme inside line. Tim's nicknamed the Turtle. You're going to see why right here.
Opens up with a strike in search of his sixth PBA crown. How the Bel Air, Maryland native got here after the round of 32 when he defeated the pride of Indianapolis, Mike Albee, then getting through the round of 16, beating Justin, and 3-1 in the round of 8 last night against Robert Smith.
It's a great match last night against Robert Smith. Tim Criss, the Turtle, with the slow ball speed. That's where he gets his nickname, going up against the high-octane Robert Smith. Now, Tim Criss, left lane.
There it is.
There's another high-octane guy in the audience tonight. The Chief, Brian Himmler, is staying around.
Take a look at Tim's approach. Nice level head. Ball just above, head high. Great balance. Great follow-through right at his target. Switches to a ball that goes much straighter, cross lane at the 10-pin.
Yeah.
He's got some fans yelling over here already. Second frame.
And how Doug Kent got through the round of 16 against Jason Couch, who's off lamenting his Redskins again today on Sunday. The round of 8, lost out to Rick Steelsmith, but keep in mind the match, the wild card, is the best match play record that didn't get in the semifinals. That's how Doug got here. Kind of funny when you talk to Doug to hear him say and admit he's not a good practice player. He doesn't enjoy practicing, doesn't do it a lot.
Doesn't practice a whole lot, but what he did do in the last week and a half or 2 weeks, he went home and worked on his timing. He literally changed his timing. He got the ball into the swing a little bit sooner, which is going to make Doug throw it straighter and faster.
Well, the practice paid off, and he joked about it last night, said I probably should practice a little bit more. $200,000 on the line here in the Greater Cincinnati Classic. Prize money up on the PBA Tour this year by 140%. $40,000 for first and $20,000 for second.
Come on, let's get a good one here.
If the prize money was up 140% back in '99 when you won your 12th title, you'd still be bowling.
Yeah, I would.
Better.
I'd still be out there. Now I'm here stuck with you, Jim.
Void were prohibited.
Yeah. Doug went home, worked on his game, Jim. He changed his pivot step. He made his pivot step shorter and quicker, and what that did was it really cleaned up his release at the bottom of the swing.
3 straight spares to start off the wild card match for Doug Kent. All right-handers in our field of 5.
We had some left-handers in the round of 16. In the round of 8, they got knocked off by the gentleman that you're going to see tonight.
Okay, so I need a re-rack then.
And a re-rack.
No.
Won the '99
like
PBA National Championship.
Okay.
Tim did. That was his first major in Toledo. 3 of his 4 titles back in '97. Former Eastern Player of the Year. He and Sherry travel around by motor coach.
With their beautiful little girl, Amanda.
And the Cocker Spaniel named
I can't
Oakley.
Ah, that was my fault.
Good look here at Tim Criss and what his ball does when it enters the pocket. His entry angle, because he throws a slower speed, the big hook, the sharp entry angle, 6-pin goes to the gutter, just lays in the channel, leaving the 10-pin.
And entry angle.
Well, entry angle is simply a measurement in degrees when the ball enters the pocket. You know, a good tour player has an average of about 4 to 5 degrees as it enters the pocket. Most league bowlers about 2 degrees. But again, a lot of it depends on the amount of hook and the amount of speed. The more hook, the sharper the entry angle.
And we'll get that with our Cats numbers a little later on.
Yeah, there we go.
4 good shots by Tim Criss.
right?
Only 2 strikes to show for it, but he's got a nice line to the pocket. That soft speed keeps the pins low. Deep inside line, feathering it right over about the 5th arrow. The entry angle 5.3, the 16th board. And a great result. The soft speed, soft hand, keeping the pins nice and low, mixing them up.
Doug in the 4th now. 3 straight spares.
What a great break there, chipping the 2-pin out. Doug having a little bit of trouble getting the ball to go dead flush early on. The adjustment here is he's either got to move his feet to the right, tighten his line up, tighten his angle up, or he's got to throw the ball a pinch softer.
He is no couch potato. He has a tough time doing nothing, right? He loves to stay active.
Well, he's a proprietor back in New York, owns his own bowling center. He's worked very hard on getting his center to be a top shelf center in the United States. And look at him taking advantage of that trip 2-pin.
After 3 straight spares, 2 double, 2 strikes there. That's the Rose Bowl lanes in Newark, New York, by the way.
Just outside of Rochester.
If Tim looks a little thinner than the last time you saw him on winning, he dropped about 30, 35 pounds, didn't he?
Lost 30 pounds from last year's Japan Cup to this year's Japan Cup, a span of September to September.
Sushi will do that.
Sushi will do that.
Needs some help.
Oh!
Come on.
His release is kind of Pete Weber-like.
It is. Take a look here at Tim's release. He gets right underneath. The finger gets underneath the ball and then to the side. And what that does is creates side rotation, and side rotation gets the ball to clean up through the front end and gets it to recover in the back part of the lane. If his hand was up the back part of the ball, his ball would never cover as many boards as it does. Remember, the ball always wants to travel in the direction of rotation once friction's created. That's why when you see him shoot his spare, his hand is underneath. He doesn't want the ball to hook. On this shot here, you're going to watch his hand flip around the side of the ball, getting the ball to go to the right and recover to the left. Looking for
rip, baby.
So a strike in the 6th. Tim Criss, the wild card match. Doug Kent off a double in 4 and 5. We're live just outside the Queen City. It's the Greater Cincinnati Classic on ESPN. Back live at the Super Bowl, Erlanger, Kentucky. Turfway Park's across the street. It's the Greater Cincinnati Classic live on ESPN. The wild card match. Doug Kent, the 34-year-old, the right-hander out of Newark, New York. And speaking of the wild card, how he advanced, fewest losses. Again, the best record in match play that didn't qualify for the semis.
Whoa! Check out the speed and the power.
Well, time for our weekly feature, Feet Don't Fail Me Now. Dexter Footwork, so important.
My Dexter solution this week was the number 2 heel along with the number 4 sole. I found the approaches to be a little on the slippery side this week. That's why I chose this combination. I'm more of a power stroker type player, and I like a lot shorter slide. And this was the best combination for me.
Doug Kent, the stroker. Those shoes look like Randy's dress shoes.
Power stroker. Again, right now, real critical for Doug to control his speed. A little too firm. The ball's not going to bite down the lane. This ball comes up light, leaving the 2-8.
Likes to slow hook it, doesn't he?
He does like to slow hook it, but Doug's very versatile. He can do a lot of different things with the bowling ball. I think the thing that's important to note about his footwork is that the fact that his slide foot gets to the foul line well before the ball does. This is how you create power.
Well, they're smiling in Newark, New York, the Rose Bowl lanes. You don't suppose they've got us on live up there, do you?
You can bet they do.
Any snow on the ground up there yet?
I don't think so. Not yet. Another couple of weeks, maybe.
Tim with a strike in the 6th, down by 17.
Sit the pocket every ball. You have to have a double to show for it. A lot of pin action, a lot of pins flying around for Tim, but they're not doing their job. They're not taking out the 10 pin. This time comes across, it doesn't take out the 4. Ball drifts a little bit high. Watch this pin come from side, right side, looking for the 4 pin. Jeff Gruden. Chucky.
John Gruden.
John Gruden, excuse me. So he's got that mean scowl going.
Voted one of the 50 most attractive people by People magazine.
Not when he's on the sideline. He looks pretty scary.
Bad.
And in line for that Notre Dame job.
As long as they keep losing. Tim Criss, big split on the left lane, goes for the 2 pins. And that is a result of his ball not carrying when it hits the pocket. A lot of times what happens is you try to make adjustments to get your ball to fit in the 1-3 a little bit better so that you can carry 10 pins. And when you do that, sometimes you lose pocket. It's exactly what happened to Tim.
You have bowled with and against the man on the screen right there, Doug Kent, through the years. And he's known on tour as being very consistent. Why doesn't he make more shows?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. It took him a long time to win his first event. And, we couldn't believe, we had a hard time understanding why it took him so long because of the talent that he has. So take a look at this shot here. This ball right now gets into the switch zone, and watch the action of the head pin. Nothing but splinters left down there. 22.7 miles per hour. That's real firm. The average speed is about 15 miles an hour. I think to this day, Doug has really never come into his own out here on tour. You would think at this point in time in his career, he would have had 7, 8, 9 titles.
Waiting patiently and watching from Ocala, Florida, Walter Ray Williams Jr. He'll meet the winner of this wild card match. Possible 226 for Doug Kent and a possible 205 for Tim Criss were they to strike out.
Take a look at where Tim Criss is going to be playing. He's going to be playing this deep inside angle going this way. Doug Kent, much straighter, much more direct from the right side of the lane. There you go. Finally got that ball to fit the 1-3 a little bit better. That time the 6 pin goes to the sidewall, takes care of the 10 like it's supposed to.
I'm going to get you to use that telestrator, do the Raiders play they call pig. You know what that is?
No.
That's a post.
Oh, okay. I know how to draw a post. Outpost? All right. Here's the deal. Tim Criss strikes out in the 10th frame, shoots 205. That will force Doug Kent to mark in the 10th frame. Great shot. He knows what he needs to do.
Make him show up.
He made the TV show, Tim did, a couple of weeks ago. Made the finals and left a split 10. Got about a dozen phone calls from his friends, said, what happened? Tim just laughed and said, hey, you think it's so easy? You go try it on national television. You put yourself in that position.
Well, it's never easy bowling on tour against the greatest players in the world. Certainly not easy in a one-game match on television.
Well, he told you he has worked all week on a new push away, and it's paid off, huh?
He went home. Actually, he didn't go home, but in between the last 2 stops, did you see the ball not driving hard enough into the pocket, leaving the week 10? He went home, in between the 2 weeks, really worked on his game. He told me that he bowled 200 games in 6 days. But look what a difference. He said he struggled the last couple of weeks. And all of a sudden, here he is tonight, bowling on the telecast. Now, Doug Kent needs 5 pins to win.
Doug Kent, the wild card, 34 years of age, the right-hander, and looking for his 5th PBA crown, will meet Hall of Famer Walter Ray Williams Jr. But when we come back, the first semifinal match, Mike Machuga up against Rick Steelsmith. It's the Greater Cincinnati Classic on a red-hot Sunday night. The PBA Tour has come to Cincinnati for the Greater Cincinnati Classic. $200,000 in prize money, $40,000 to our champion. Will it be the young right-hander out of Erie, Pennsylvania, Mike Machuga, making his very first TV appearance, or the veteran, the Hall of Famer from California, Walter Ray Williams Jr.? Well, time for our weekly feature, and today it's on access rotation. Mike's All-America sisters, Carrie and Shelley, know about that. They bowl at Nebraska. Here's Randy.
We're here at the beautiful Kegel Training Center in Sebring, Florida. My guest today, PBA superstar Criss Barnes. Today, Criss is going to talk to you about axis rotation. Take it away, Criss.
Well, Randy, as you know, on the PBA Tour, most of the players have many, many releases. And out of my 7 or 8, today I'm going to show you a couple of mine. The first one I'm going to show you is a axis rotation that's very end over end. I'll use when I'm playing the gutter or when the lanes are very wet dry and I want to control the back ends. The second one I want to show you today is one where I get my hand up on the side of the ball more. It brings my axis rotation back towards me. This will get it to skid through the front of the lane and then create more back end down lane. And this will help me open it up later on in the day. So as you can see, on the shot on the left, my hand is much more up the back of the ball. This creates much more end over end, controls the back end, and does very little. The one on the right, my hand is rotated around on the side of the ball. It's made it push through the front, hook much more in the back, and it lets me have a much different look on this lane condition.
Criss, that's fantastic. Listen, take it from Criss Barnes. You want to be a superstar, learn how to change your axis rotation on command.
Criss Barnes will be in the field coming up, the PBA Long Island Open. They'll qualify at Syosset Lanes. And the finals will be at Mohegan Sun up in Connecticut, qualifying in match play. The ESPN telecast as the PBA Tour moves to Sundays. That's 1 o'clock now, 1 o'clock next Sunday from Mohegan Sun Resort, where Imus did his radio show all last week. And then Randy Peterson won back in '95 his 11th PBA title in Louisville, where the PBA Tour goes for the first time since then. What an effect you had. The PBA Greater Louisville Open at the Executive Strike and Spare Center, where Randy is in the Hall of Fame. The Greater Cincinnati Classic, not far from the Greater Cincinnati Airport. Ironically, both are located in the state of Kentucky, not far from all those marvelous horse farms down the road a spell, about 90 miles away in Lexington. Rick Steelsmith on the right, up against Mike Machuga. Again, we've got all right-handers making it to the field of 5.
Good look there at Rick Steelsmith, Wichita, Kansas, graduate of Wichita State. That was unusual. That ball actually rolled out before it got to the head pin. When the ball rolls out, what happens is it goes down the lane, it loses energy, and then the direction that the ball starts to turn, it actually stops and ends up kind of going straight. So that ball started to hook back towards the pocket, rolled out, and lost its energy and didn't catch enough of the head pin. Leaves himself with an easy spare of the 2-pin. You hear that popping noise, Jim, when Rick Steelsmith lets go of it. We'll talk a little bit more about what's happening with that popping noise at his release.
Well, we'll see how the young man, who's only 25 years of age, can handle his first live TV appearance right here. He's well known in amateur ranks, though, isn't he?
A lot of experience in the amateur ranks.
Won the Bowler's Journal double twice. A couple of Megabucks titles.
And the big thing for Mike, being his first telecast, is how he handles the first couple of frames. He's gonna be nervous. He's just got to get over those early frame jitters. What he needs to do here, 2 rules of thumb. You can get the ball to the left side of the head pin, throwing the head pin into the 610 over in here this way, or you can make it by getting the ball in this area.
Hey! The power side of a tweener.
He is the power side of the tweener. He's got a lot of axis rotation, and making that split right there should really relax him. Or I shouldn't say split, that's a washout. He's going to get the ball to the right side of the head pin. The ball's going to deflect off the head pin and carry the 6-10 out. He couldn't script it any better. Now, deep breath. Avoided disaster in the first frame.
Told me just a few minutes before the telecast, pressure is self-imposed. It's what you put on yourself.
You know, and his thought process this week was thinking in the now, keying on shot making, keying on something that, you know, that he can keep running through his mind so that he doesn't get sidetracked. I want you to listen now to the sound of Rick Steelsmith's release. Again, coming up light, but that popping sound is because of the fact that Rick Steelsmith buries his fingers into his finger holes. Those grips are sucking on the end of his fingers. He puts them in past the first knuckle, in between the first and second knuckle. His grip almost becomes a conventional grip. It's kind of a semi-fingertip, but he buries his fingers so deep that he gets that suction, that popping noise, and to him, that's what feels really good. That's a great feel. It's not his thumb. Again, he missed that because the ball actually rolled out and didn't have enough energy to cover the back pin, the 8 pin. Doesn't catch enough of the 2 pin. The 2 pin has enough weight to make that 15-pound ball deflect and go right. Now, excuse me, Jim, go ahead.
Spare and open for, kind of interesting, you know, he went home after we were all together at the Johnny Petraglia Open there, just outside of Princeton, New Jersey, and worked with a sports psychologist, right?
Worked on his mental game. He said he was mentally fresh coming into this week. Now, see, that ball didn't stop. And what he does when the ball starts rolling out is he gets his hand to rotate around the side of the ball more, increasing the back end reaction. Watch his hand rotate around the side of the ball, and you're not going to see this ball stop when it gets into the 1-3. Keeps going.
Mike with a spare in the first, working on a strike in the second. And the Machuga clan there. Shelley and Carrie are both elementary school teachers back at Elk Valley Elementary. And Lori, who was on the far right-hand side, is actually working on her doctorate at the University of Akron. That's Lori on the far outside who just turned and talked to her sisters there, the All-America softball pitcher from Allegheny College.
That was a nice look she gave her sister, too, because she knows what it's like to leave a solid 8. That was a great shot that Mike threw there. Unfortunately, he doesn't capitalize on the strike in the second. Should have had a double.
Watching their brother. Needs some help.
Great break there, but you know what? He didn't get the break on the right lane. This time he does get the break. Right through the face with all that angle. Normally his big split time. Gets a great break, only leaving the 4-7. Oh.
Their dad, Dick, is in Las Vegas tonight, watching at, well, one of the establishments with a sports book. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we can't plug that, can we?
But we could say it's just east of Samstown.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now let's watch Rick Steelsmith's ball reaction down the lane. Let's see if it continues or if it rolls out. Well, again, a compensation of leaving the 2-8 the last time on that lane. That ball jerked so hard it went right through the face. What he needs to do is he needs to get the ball to the right of the 3-pin. Right in here. The ball will take the 6-10 out. The 3-pin goes over here. Takes the 7-pin out.
Back in '89, Rick had a terrible, terrible shoulder injury. Missed almost a year and a half, I think, right? But really affected him mentally.
It was actually it was harder on him mentally than it was physically. It was 18 months of rehabilitation. Great shot. When Rick first came out on tour, Jim, he was probably one of the top 3 players on the tour. The tour hadn't seen the likes of him. As we take a look at this great conversion, we hadn't seen the likes of a Rick Steelsmith since the last time I can remember, a Marshall Holman coming out on tour. High expectations. He was touted as the next Marshall Holman. Had that terrible injury, had to adjust his game, and he told me last night he went from being an instinctive player to a mechanical player. Come on. Oh, yeah! A little left tap on the 10. That's just enough for something like that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff Rick Steelsmith needs to happen to turn things around. Headpin's going to go to the sideboard. It's going to come across looking for the 10. And just enough to knock that 3-6 wood down. And what a great break, and he knows it.
It's like your bank account, teetering.
Oh, thanks.
Spare, strike, spare, spare for Mike.
See how the youngster handles that break that Rick Steelsmith just got. Ball comes in light, leaving just the 2-pin. Mike has to adjust his game a little bit. He's standing in front of the bar, turning the left lane, giving him the angle that he needs to play, but, you know, he's got to move up further on the approach than he is on the left lane. That takes a lot of work and a lot of practice to be able to repeat shots doing it.
You know, when he first got hooked on bowling, he said it was kind of routine. Everybody did it. It was kind of like going to school, something everybody did. And he really didn't appreciate the game until he got to the University of Nebraska.
Well, you know, his grandparents also owned a bowling center. He did all of his bowling there, and they would literally have to pull him off the lanes. He would bowl until his fingers were raw.
Well, and he'll be the first to tell you he wasn't very good until Bill Straub took over at the University of Nebraska. Worked on his timing.
Great shot there. 6-pin goes up and around the 10. We call that the ringing 10. Our statistician, Paul Kaler, is telling me that the lanes are starting to get a little wet dry. Watch the 6-pin. This one right here. Up and over the 10.
It's the battle of the right-handers. The youngster from Erie, Pennsylvania, Mike Machuga, in his first televised appearance up against Rick Steelsmith. The first semifinal match. Rick looks for PBA title number 3. Welcomes you back to the PBA Greater Cincinnati Classic. The PBA Tour rolling to one of their favorite stops. An enthusiastic Sunday crowd. Don't forget the PBA has switched over to Sundays now.
Let's take a look here at what Rick Steelsmith is doing. He's figured out the left lane, okay? But the problem is right here, the right lane. The first ball he threw, he leaves the 2-8. That's this frame here. He leaves the 2-8. Doesn't change his angle. Speed gets a little bit softer. He leaves that big, ugly split. I look for him to move a little bit left and to really start carving on it. Pretty good there. Let's take a look. See what our Cats is telling us. Okay, see there, he moved just about 2 boards. He had to speed up a little bit, but his laydown was much further left. 5 to 6 boards further left on that lane. That's the adjustment. Lanes were a little that lane was a little tricky where his laydown was. He moves left, finds fresher oil so his ball behaves going down the lane. Oh, and a great shot there. He knows it. Looking to carry that 10-pin. This match with a spare from Rick Steelsmith is all even.
Talking about bowling as youngsters, he got hooked on it about the time he was 12. Said his mom and dad were very, very supportive. And sometimes when a 12-year-old says, hey, I think I'd like to be a bowler, you don't get that kind of support, but they stuck with him. A strike in the second. Since then, 4 straight spares, then a strike in the 7th for Mike.
What a great shot from Mike Machuga. This ball is what we call dead flush. Buries the heart of the 1-3 pocket. Great reaction, great result. He loves it. And he turns around and he looks at his sisters and he goes, yeah, it's game on. Match all even. With a strike here, Mike Machuga can take a 10-pin lead.
Well, there's plenty of support in that Machuga clan because 2 of them are All-America bowlers out of Nebraska. Right on your screen right there, Carrie and Shelley. You don't think any folks back there at the Elk Valley Elementary School in Lake City, Pennsylvania, staying up late? Kids?
I'm sure there's a few.
You too can bowl like Mike.
I'm sure there's a few watching. It doesn't hurt Mikey. Doesn't hurt Mike any that his brother-in-law, Mike Shady, is a PBA champion. Really worked hard on Mike's mental game.
And then on the flip side of things, Rick Steelsmith has a pretty good roommate, huh?
Justin Hromick, my buddy Justin. We call him Big Red.
Former U.S. Open champ.
Former U.S. Open champ. Great guy, real easygoing guy. It's a nice mix. Those two great roommates. They both love golf. They do have a lot of similar taste and likes off the lanes.
Rick's mom is here, Carol Steelsmith. Dad is watching back in Manhattan. That's Manhattan, Kansas. Rick's sister is here somewhere. She is celebrating her 30th birthday today. Yeah, Rick's had a couple of years. He talks about it himself. 2-3 years that have been tough. And I ask him why he's been struggling. He says, I don't know, to be honest.
Well, I think that for Rick, it's been all mental. Rick needs something good to happen to him. Some breaks. Something to go his way. A championship tonight, winning this tournament could really turn things around for him. But, you know, he's a great player. He has to believe in his ability. Everybody else out here believes in it. He needs to believe in what he can do with a bowling ball and just trust his instincts.
When it comes to the qualifying, he says he's been hampered by slow starts, and he said he's got mental static.
Well, you know, he gets off to a slow start. If he gets down on himself, now he's fighting an uphill battle. This week, though, you know, the time off, he went home, stayed, you know, visited his family, was with the kids. Came in here with a lot better attitude.
Yeah, great shot.
And a great strike there.
Fans of Rick and Mike, you've got 2 websites to access all the latest information about the world's greatest bowlers. In addition to the tour's official website at PBA.com, you can get all the latest tournament results, stats, news, and player features via the PBA bowling link on ESPN.com. 2 great websites for one great sport.
We talked about Justin Hromick being Rick Steelsmith's roommate. He's doing our live website right now. Got a little something happening. I think it's something either laying in the pin deck or it's a re-rack. I think what's happening is Mike Machuga standing so far left on the right lane, he had to make an adjustment with the bar turn. We have a little piece going around the bar turn.
It's funny, Rick's just laughing.
He says better him than me.
Now's the time mentally where he's got to regroup, focus a little better.
Well, right now where we're at is if Mike Machuga strikes out, doesn't matter what Rick Steelsmith does, he's going to win by at least 1 pin. There's the start. Situation is this: Rick Steelsmith can strike out for 215. With 3 strikes in the 10th frame right now, Mike Machuga shoots 216. Doesn't get any better than this. They know the score.
Carrie, Shelley, Lori, left to right.
What a break there! Got the ball into the swish zone. All that hand and rotation made the pins just dance.
Well, and if you wanted somebody to root for, right, all those junior leagues on Saturday mornings, and he'll be the first to describe his life as a rocky road filled with some peaks and valleys. He was in some trouble, and he really credits bowling helping to turn things around and save him.
Well, I think bowling, his sisters, you know, his relationship with Mike Shady and Bill Straub really turned things around for him. Oh, just a great shot. Leaves a ring in 10. Couldn't have thrown the ball any better when he needed to. Situation is this.
Double and 2.
9 spare here will give Mike Machuga 205. To force Rick Steelsmith to double in the 10th. Stage is set. Jim, Steelsmith's a veteran. He knows what he needs to do. If he doesn't strike on this ball, Mike Machuga will advance to the title match. There's one.
Halfway there. For the man that's been hampered by those slow starts, admits he's had some bad thought processes, a lot of mental static there, up and down for 4 years, slow start to 201. Ask him what winning would mean. He said just a lot of self-gratification that all the hard work finally has paid off.
And right now, Rick Steelsmith needs to draw on all of his tour experience and get up and only think one thing, and that's how great a shot he's going to make. A strike and 1 pin. He's the winner.
And Mike's head is still down. He cannot walk.
There's a hook. Mike Machuga's your winner.
How about that? In his first televised appearance, he's into the finals with 40,000 on the line. Just 25 years of age in search of PBA title #1. Downtown Cincinnati, known as the Queen City. We started with 124. We had some exciting athletic competition, some grueling qualifying, down to the final 5, and we've got just 3 left now. As you take a look at semifinal match #1, the youngster, 25 years of age, Mike Machuga out of Erie, Pennsylvania, Rick Steelsmith out of Wichita, Kansas. You know, it's been a very unusual week here. Not unusual in terms of the PBA giving back to the communities that they visit, but in terms of, well, how about an orphanage and some great kids, some underprivileged kids, some kids that could use some direction, much like Mike Machuga that came here to watch the Chief, Brian Himmler, and Hall of Famer Parker Bone, and future Hall of Famer Jason Couch. These kids, these needy, underprivileged kids, all came here to meet some athletes, some idols, some stars, and enjoy some bowling and some tips from some of the best in the world. And if you need any substance, any hint of a reward, just look at the smiles.
The best part is that you can see there was a smile on every kid's face. A lot of them don't get a chance. I mean, really, any kid doesn't get a chance to perform, you know, to compete with a professional athlete. And I think everybody had a good time.
The kids that are out here today, they're definitely the kids that you really want to open up your heart and open up your arms to. You want to make them feel like they're a part of the PBA and feel like they're a part of bowling. And to come out and put in a couple hours today, or, you know, you're doing the right thing, and it's within your heart that really counts.
All part of the PBA tour, rolling on and giving back to the communities that they visit, like St. Joseph's and the orphanage. But check out the kids and their reaction to their future heroes.
It was very cool. They were so down to earth. They weren't like, oh, you're the little people and all that stuff like that. They were so fun. They were just trying to give us good pointers and stuff like that. They were so silly. They were so silly.
And if you need any hint, any clue at all that it was a special week for those kids from St. Joe's, just check out this smile. And the Chief, Brian, is here. It's okay to smile. I know what he's looking for. The nearest restaurant that serves a platter full of ribs. When we come back, semifinal match #2, Doug Kent and Walter Ray. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports and the PBA Tour, welcome you back. Semifinal action, the Greater Cincinnati Classic with $40,000 on the line. And in case you missed the top of the telecast about 60 minutes ago, where the heck were you? But let's recap and set the stage with Hall of Famer Walter Ray Williams Jr. and his TV appearances. All ready?
4 weeks in a row, looking for his first win. Those 4 events. See Doug here defeated Tim Criss in the wild card match.
By a score of 216 to 194. Kent in the first. And again, if you missed that earlier match, Doug has been working on his timing. He's changed his pivot foot and the step. And what has that done?
Well, what that's done is it's softened up his hand a little bit at release. He felt that he was lofting it a little bit too much, hitting the ball a little bit too hard. And when the lane conditions are as sensitive as they are in the sport condition, it makes the ball do funny things down the lane. It makes it jerk really hard one shot, makes it, you know, wide right, missing the headpin the next shot. It's just real unpredictable and really hard to read. First look at Walter Ray Williams Jr. Getting real used to seeing this face. 4th telecast in a row.
Ask him about all those appearances back to back to back to back. Sounds like the boomer, Chris Berman, right?
Yeah.
If it's affected him at all, he says, yeah, he said, a lot of his friends have said it's kind of like the Walter Ray show. And he said, hey, you know what? That's not true. He's just trying to make the most of it and sweeten that bank account.
Well, you know, he's riding the wave right now. As you take a look at the road to him getting here, defeated Danny Wiseman 3 and out. Patrick Healy last night, Lee Johnson. And the one thing that Walter Ray is looking for that he hasn't had in the other 3 telecasts is when his ball hits the pocket, it's striking. You saw that late 10-pin fall there? It's exactly what he's looking for.
Well, most of you pros, whether it's Randy Peterson or Doug Kent there or Mike Machuga, who you'll see in the finals, look for an area. And the key then is just to find the good reaction.
Well, you know, Walter Ray has always prided himself on being very accurate and never missing his target. Whether or not he does or doesn't, I think the most important thing is that he doesn't think he ever does. Doug goes to a much straighter ball. He's going to move cross lane. This ball's made out of plastic with a real scary looking face on it. And I guess if it doesn't hit the pin, it'll scare it down.
At the Super Bowl here, John Gant, who's the co-proprietor and 4-time PBA champion. Johnny Eagleson, also a co-proprietor.
John Gant, the buzzsaw.
Well, there are 2 Grants, Jim Gant and John Gant.
John Gant, ex-PBA player, now proprietor. Good shot there by Dougie. Dougie Fresh, as he's known by many of his friends out here on tour. Walter Ray working on a double. I asked Walter Ray, Jim, last night, I said, what are you going to do different on TV tonight than you've done the last 3 weeks? He says, absolutely nothing.
I think you're going to say we're an exciting shirt.
So, you know, this is the thing that you look for. When his ball hits the pocket, it's not exactly flush in the 1-3. What happens to the 10-pin? Is there something going to the sidewall, taking the 10-pin out? And early on, that's been the case. The first ball he threw in the first frame was perfect, flush in the pocket. The next 2 were what we call that, you know, that where the ball's a little bit lighter in the pocket, where you got to get some kind of help. Otherwise, the 10-pin's going to stand. Walter's perfect through 3.
Perfect through 4. Deep breath by Doug, knows he's up against a freight train.
Right, frame 3, watch the action of the 6-pin going to the sidewall. Catches a piece of the 10. Frame 4, watch this. Ball's right in the little 1-3. 6 goes to the wall, cuts the 10 in half. That's the kind of stuff that Walter Ray's been looking for.
Up by 31. He's getting so good he knows where the camera is. coming back.
Doug looks like he's moved his angle or his target a little bit further left, getting a little bit closer to where Walter Ray is playing the lanes. Great student. He sees what's working for Walter Ray. Doug, being very versatile, changes line, changes angle on command.
Doug won the first of his 4 PBA crowns back in '96 at the Greater Detroit Open. Run the ladder back then for the win.
99, he mowed the field, and I was one of the guys. I know firsthand what he's capable of doing.
Bears in 1 and 2, strikes 3, 4, and 5.
Dougie Fresh sets game on. Changes line a little bit. Jimmy moved his target a little bit left, going a little bit straight and a little bit harder. Now he trails Walter Ray by just 11.
Walter's always looking for that mistake area, and we'll tell you that's why the oil pattern is so important for the pro.
You're exactly right, and right now Walter looks like he's just making shot after shot. This ball is what we call high flush, where the 6 doesn't have to go around the 10, it just goes right into it, and he knows it. Usually when the ball hits into that zone, 99.9% of the time it's going to strike. Swiss zone, got the ripper 5.
6 in a row. If the kids are watching, you want to be like him. Walter says, enjoy the game, practice a lot, and learn as much as you can and bowl under all types of conditions. Can he hang on? Maybe a 300 game. Lane 45 and 46, the highlight here. We're at the Super Bowl, just outside Greater Cincinnati. A 6-bagger for Walter. 7.
Taking care of the 10-pin this week is what he couldn't do the last 3 weeks. He's getting it done now.
Doug Kent, meanwhile, had strikes in 3, 4, and 5, a spare in the 6th, and a strike in the 7th for Doug. Pretty straight.
20 miles an hour, the 9th board going real direct. 6-pin goes to the sidewall. That's your friend. When you see that happening, the pins are cooperating, you know you're doing the right deal.
And a 1/10 of a mile an hour at 40 feet. That translates to 8 strikes in a row.
Front 8. His ball's hitting the pocket, and it's striking.
Well, it wasn't that many weeks ago. Pete Weber electrified the crowd and gave us a 299.
It's not looking good, is it, Rand?
You hear Doug said it's not looking good, Randy.
Very astute.
I talked to Walter Ray before we went on air. I said, Walter, do us a favor, shoot 300 for us. Doug, I'm sorry. Well, I think the important thing that Doug needs to reflect back on is the fact that he did make a change in his game, put in the time and the effort, and found instant results this week. Needs to take that with him to the next tournament.
And they'll have the rematch. And that Monday night game, we've queued the orchestra up. It's Monday Night Football, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Denver paper this morning, they were handicapping that game. They said, what are the Ravens the Titans missing? And the writer said, heart. So heartless, isn't it? Monday Night Football tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Well, hey, speaking of Titans, there's one right here on the right lane looking for 9 in a row. We saw it a couple of weeks ago, Jim.
Was that a Randy Johnson fastball? Walter looked like he had a little extra oomph on that one.
Walter Ray is doing exactly what Walter Ray does best. He's going direct. He's keeping the ball on a straight line. He's hitting his target, and he's repeating shots. Walter Ray, 3 strikes away from perfection.
Tell you, one guy who's breathing a sigh of relief is Mike Machuga. He's saying, thank God it's not against me in the finals, huh?
Right. He's also thinking, get it out of your system quick. But with Walter Ray, he's liable to do the same exact thing next game. He's taking a re-rack. He wants everything to be perfect. $10,000 for a perfect game. Walter Ray Williams has already won the match. He will advance to bowl Mike Machuga for the title.
It could be a $50,000 night for Walter. 40 for winning the championship.
Oh! Just a tremendous shot. Walter Ray Williams Jr. with a spare shoots 289.
On their feet at the Super Bowl. In the semifinal match. Well, you don't win 33 PBA crowns. Here's the shot. The 10. No.
He was getting that hit the entire game when he needed it the most. It goes right around the 10 pin.
One more to bowl with 40,000 on the line. So after 4 straight TV appearances, a chance for the championship. Williams up against Mike Machuga when we come right back. .289 for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Almost perfection. And breaking up that perfect game. Just danced all around that pesky 10, didn't it?
Well, he couldn't have thrown it any better.
He'll be in the field. The TV finals at Mohegan Sun on Sunday after all the qualifying takes place at Syosset Lanes. The PBA Long Island Open, another $200,000. But the Mohegan Sun and Casino up in Connecticut, the site of the finals. The PBA continues its Sunday run. That's next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. Then where Randy won his 11th title in Louisville, another Sunday effort. And regional action back in East Brunswick, New Jersey, huh?
East Brunswick, New Jersey for AMF at AMF Midstate Lanes. And then Central Region, Grand Rapids. Out west, Fresno, California. And Rose Bowl, Portland, Oregon.
Let's see if we can get Peter Jacobs in on it too.
I'd like to have Peter come out and watch the telecast, and then maybe get a couple of holes in prior to, and a bunch of fun watching our sport.
.25 years of age, you almost saw a perfect game, and now you're meeting him. Any
Well, Mike's going to need a lot of maple moxie. I mean, 289, the great Walter Ray Williams Jr. But you know what? This guy's got a lot of fire. He believes in himself, and he's got a lot of ability. I think this match is going to boil down to who strikes the most when they hit the pocket. Who's going to have the best carry? He's back. He's back.
When Walter joined the PBA, the year was 1980. Mike would have been about 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, this is like going up against the Raiders.
Walter's feeling it. He's liking what he's seeing. When his ball hits the pocket, he gets that good carry. It's exactly what I've been talking about. That ball was real weak entering the pocket. Didn't have a lot of drive, but just enough to bump the 10 out. Watch the little love tap here. The 6 pin goes to the wall. Sidewall just catches enough of the 10 pin. When you see that kind of stuff happening, it really gives you a nice warm feeling.
Watch the footwork here for the 25-year-old right-hander from Erie. You get the feeling he'd like to be back another half step.
Yes.
A double. Working the crowd. Up against the Hall of Famer.
This ball's high flush. He could have knocked 20 pins down with this ball. You know, standing in front of the ball return is becoming such a commonplace now, Jim. The guys are doing it without hesitation, and they're getting so good at it because they've practiced it. They know what to expect when the lanes break down. They know they have to move left, and it's almost not even an issue anymore. But obviously a lot harder for some than others. I always had a hard time because I'm a big, tall player, big, long legs. I needed a lot more approach. Oh.
So close.
It's all right, though. It's a great shot. Ball's buried into the 1-3. You know, he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Hit the pocket, strike. Exception to that shot, keep the heat on Walter. Don't give him anything. Make him work for it.
There are all three. You saw a third of the clan. Carey, Shelley and Lori moving left to right. So after strikes in 1 and 2, a spare in the third, the two on the left, All-America bowlers at the University of Nebraska. That they were. Now they're elementary school teachers and here to support their brother. All those people on Walter's website helping to support him.
Wow. Right now, this guy's only missed once.
Didn't he have 18 in a row in 2 different games during qualifying when you were sitting here having cheeseburger after cheeseburger?
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I stopped eating cheeseburgers, but one game he went spare off the sheet for 290, which would be spare 11 in a row. Started the next game with a front 7. Right now, he's only missed once. Nice little shot there from Mike Machuga. He's a little Raider. You know, I could see Mike as a Raider fan. I mean, I know he lives in Pennsylvania. He's probably not a Raider fan, but he's fiery. He's got that attitude.
Absolutely. He'd be out there watering Al Davis's field down to give the home team an advantage. Absolutely.
Bowling a real good game right now. He's flushed every ball. The only blemish, the ringing 10-pin in the third frame.
Well, one of his idols growing up, Pete Weber, who almost gave us a 300 game a couple of weeks ago, up against a man who almost gave us a 300 game minutes ago.
Right now, Mike leaves a 2-8-10. Last rookie to win on tour was John Gant, the proprietor here, in his rookie year. In 1984, he won in Denver. Mike leaves a 2-8-10. The ball just didn't bite down the lane, comes in light. The only thing you can do there is take the 2-8 out, save the count.
Is that too much of an opening to give this man?
Well, I would think, you know, I mean, anything can happen. What Mike has to hope for now is that Walter Ray loses his carry. I mean, he's going to hit the pocket.
Looked like he had a little bit of his weight too much over on the right side.
Yeah, it looked like he fell off the shot a little bit to the right, kind of steered it back into the pocket. The ball didn't have the good roll on it. Still at the pocket, didn't have the good roll on it to get the 10 out. But see, this is what Mike Machuga is hoping for. He hopes that Walter Ray, when he does hit the pocket, is not going to strike. Walter is going to hit the pocket. Machuga, on the other hand, has to hit the pocket and strike. Every ball.
4 in a row and a spare in the 5th for Walter.
Walter going at a 229 pace. Mike Machuga 197.
All right, come on.
You hear what Walter's saying? He's saying, all right, you know, hey, I hit the pocket. I made a good shot. Ringing 10 on that lane. Weak 10 on the other lane on a 4-bagger. 6-pin goes around the 10. Spare here. We'll keep his lead to 31.
We'll crown our champion here shortly. Then NFL primetime coming up, 8:30 Eastern Time. Seahawks and Raiders, ESPN Sunday Night Football. ESPN and the PBA Tour, glad you're on board for the finals here of this Raiders Cincinnati Classic. $40,000 to the champion. Will it be this man, Mike Machuga, winning for the very first time, or the Hall of Famer just tacking on another victory?
Walter looks pretty confident, and
oh,
and I would, if I was him, I would be feeling pretty good.
During the commercial, Mike went over and talked to his two sisters, Shelley and Carrie, the All-American bowlers out of Nebraska.
Do you think they were giving him a little strategy or a little pep talk?
He told me before the match that it actually works both ways. He asked them for advice because obviously they're very knowledgeable, and they asked him for some as well.
Well, Take a look at this leave here, and this is just a result of what happened on the left lane where he left it 2-8-10. This time he makes sure he doesn't get soft and catches too much of it. Got to get the ball over here with hook so that the ball will go back and take out this 9-pin. 2-pin goes over and takes care of the 7. Whoa! All right, he's keeping him honest. What a great shot that was. Great spare conversion.
Just the way Mr. Randy Peterson told us.
Well, I've shot this a couple of times. And watch this 3-pin, 2-pin, or the 3-pin going over and taking care of the 7. So this is what happens. See, left lane, ball goes too long, 2-8-10. Goes to the right lane, wants to avoid the 2-8-10, grabs a little bit too much, ball hooks high. Got to trust your ability, make a good shot here.
That's a little unusual warm-up move where he does a little dance step to the right? Kind of hugs the bowling ball and swings back into form.
Yeah, and what he's doing there is he's trying to give himself a nice visual as far as the angle he's trying to project the bowling ball on. If you're trying to throw the bowling ball to the right, you don't want your shoulders square to the foul line. You want them open, and that's what he's doing. He's rocking back and forth, trying to get a good feel. Speaking of good feels,
right back at it after 4 in a row, then a spare in 5 and 6, and a possible 268 for Walter.
you really got a feel for Mike Machuga. His first time on TV, hard for him initially to get loose. And then you're bowling against a guy who's got like 135 telecasts. You know that there's no way Walter's going to be nervous. Walter Ray's eyeballing it. He said it's on. No more ring intense for me from last couple 3 weeks. He's real focused. Look at those eyes, determination. And nobody repeats shots like Walter Ray Williams Jr. Mike Machuga, possible 237. Walter Ray Williams Jr. going at a 238 pace. Come on.
You know, he may not win, but obviously with his family here, but valuable experience. I mean, he's acquitted himself very well. He got through that first semifinal match, 205 to 203. Come here. And will earn $20,000.
Well, great experience for him, and in my opinion, he's bowled very well under the circumstances. Right now, his ball reaction is real touchy. If he gets the ball in a little bit, it wants to hang. If he gets the ball a little bit too far to the right early, it overhooks, jumping too hard in the back end. And then he goes up against Johnny Chainsaw and Walter Ray Williams Jr. And right now he's confused. He can't get his ball to face the 1-3 the right way. It's a great experience, a great learning process for Mike Machuga. He's going to walk away with $20,000. Oh, how about that? That was great. 2-pin goes into the back pit, comes back out, takes the 10 out. Hello. Take a look at this, Jim. Watch this pin come popping out of the back pit. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has not missed the 1-3 pocket in 2 games. 289 the first game. Possible 247 this game. And he is your winner. He will tie Mark Roth for second all-time with 34 victories.
Yeah, I did a little addition here. Over 60,000 during this stretch. The last couple of weeks, you pointed out, obviously 4 straight PBA appearances. And now this one, so 40,000. That's $100,000. It's been a pretty good 5-6 weeks, huh? We'll come back and talk with the winner. You come back with us live on ESPN. Back with our champion. You know, it's really pretty funny. We're in commercial break, and Walter looks at his watch. Do you have some place to go?
Yeah, I got a lot of places to go. I got to go to Long Island, win another tournament.
Funny thing was, I asked him, I said, is this one special? He said, yes, because?
Because Mark Roth got his 34th against me, so now I tied him. That feels pretty good.
We had a great close-up there of your concentration. What was it like? What do you think about when we see you concentrating there?
I'm just looking at my target and just trying to make a good follow-through, and it usually works.
We'll see you next week in Long Island, right?
Thanks. I like to
There's your champion. I think everybody's going to go watch that Oakland and Seattle game. We're glad you're with us here. $40,000 to our champion, and a good appearance for the rookie, the 25-year-old right there, Mike Machuga out of Erie, Pennsylvania. 1 o'clock Eastern time next week. Don't forget, coming up, the Raiders and the Seahawks, 8:30 Eastern time. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.